when I really started getting into this affiliate stuff is one of my mentors in this space. I remember one month we went to a baseball game and we're sitting at the baseball game and he shows me his phone, shows me a $7.5 million wire from 1 month of work. And we're talking affiliate profits. We're talking he grew an affiliate network. So there wasn't a dollar spent out of his pocket to make that money.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. We have a special guest on this one. We have DGen David. We got David Schinkel on. You know, this podcast is called DGen Download, and David's a real one. He's got some stories, got some funny, interesting things to talk about. So let's kind of just start it off like this. David, you're in Vegas right now. Give us a little context. What have you been doing in Vegas, man? How long you been there for? I think it was supposed to be a 3 or 4 day trip that turned into what, 10 days so far?
Yeah. We're going on 10 days right now.
Yeah, let us give us a little bit of the story. What's been going on over there?
Yeah, so the past couple months, just been doing a lot of traveling, enjoying life. I've been getting invited to a lot of these blackjack tournaments recently. So, you know, you and I, we were in the Bahamas, about a week and a half ago-ish, somewhere around there.
Probably like 3 weeks ago now.
Wow, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you've been in a time warp, bro.
Seriously, you're in a little hole when you're here in Vegas. In a different world. But no, yeah, we went out there for that blackjack tournament and then initially came out here for a 250K blackjack tournament. Did pretty well. I made it past the semifinals into the quarterfinals and then ended up getting knocked out before the actual finals. But I really like the platform of the blackjack tournaments because a lot of people know how to play blackjack, but they use kind of the dynamics of poker combined into these blackjack tournaments. So each person, like seat one, will start with a button. The way it works is like 5-6 people will be at the same table and everybody starts with the same amount of chips. So with this tournament, it was 10,000 chips, tournament chips. And then there's no limit to how much you can bet, but there's 15 hands. After the 14th hand, they count up everybody's chips and then everybody knows how much each person has. And then they give each person a little slip of paper and a pen and you write down what's called your secret bet.
Yeah.
And you know that there's a lot of strategy, I think, involved with that. So looking back and reflecting on how it turned out for me, I was actually the chip leader going into the secret bet in the quarterfinals. And I had, just for context, so we all started with 10,000 tournament chips. I had on the end of the 14th hand, I had 21,000. There were 5 people at the table. The 6th person had already busted. Second person below me had about 19,000 chips. Person below them had about 16 and a half chips. And then the 2 people below them, like 4th and 5th, both had like 1,000 chips. So we already knew that it was just kind of down to us 3.
Just between the 3. Yep.
Yeah. And, you know, thinking back on this, I probably, because it was a free roll, like I didn't pay to be in this tournament. I was invited out here to go in it. So there's literally no skin in the game. And I should have probably just gone all in because it was a kind of a, you know, once in a, you know, one time situation, but I ended up not. And the other 2 guys, both of them ended up going all in. And they both made it. Was worst case. It was like worst case scenario. It was like going on a bad streak in baccarat, flipping the coin, you know, 4 times and it hitting heads every time. It's like both of them made a hand, and then the dealer didn't bust. So the dealer got like a 17, and they both had made like 18 and 19.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a bad situation where we all ended up winning the hand, but I only bet 3, so I didn't.
It's a little bit of a game theory situation there. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about the gambling, right? So until I met you, I didn't really know about like the world of like high roller gambling, you know? So it's kind of a different level. Like most people go to the casino, you go to the Hard Rock where we're down in Florida, you go to Vegas, whatever. You go in, you throw a couple dollars. But the way you do it, and if you're like a high roller gambler, it's very different, right? So talk a little bit about what that's like. Obviously, you have the high roller room. Then you have a host And then there's things like you get invited to blackjack tournaments, you get comped hotels, you get comped suites, you get like invited to different things. Like, talk a little bit about that and how did you kind of get into that, and then give us a little inside baseball into how you start qualifying for those types of things.
Yeah, so honestly, a lot of it is kind of right place, right time, and vibes based. I'll tell you the first time that I ever got a host. So first time I ever really gambled when I was 21. I'll never forget it. I was at the Win. I walked up. There's an empty roulette table. I didn't know how to play roulette. I walked up. I asked the dealer if they could show me how to play, and they were super nice. They showed me how to play. Ended up going back to where I was staying at the Venetian, and really, I think it's a lot of it has to do like the vibes of how you treat the staff there and the pit boss, especially. I mean, everybody gets along with different people. So sometimes, the pit boss, you're going to find them like a little standoffish. And then other times the pit boss is, wanting to talk and asking questions and kind of like wanting to be your friend a little bit. And in those situations, they usually, if you're gambling enough, like at least $100 a hand, they'll actually usually ask you if you have a host. So this usually is about like probably about like an hour after gambling, and then they just have had somebody come down and invite a lady come down, and she introduced herself to me. She's like, "Hey, I'm a casino host, an executive host," and then they just give you your number and they say, "If you need anything, text me." That's kind of like the base level. Pretty much anybody that is listening to this, anybody that wants a host, you can literally go into pretty much any casino. And if you go to the high limit room and you're betting, usually high limits are, minimum $100 a hand. And as long as you build some good rapport with the pit boss there, they're typically gonna invite you,
Yeah.
to give
Yeah.
you a
And
host.
just to give some context, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but the purpose of giving someone a host is like you want to treat the highest dollar gamblers with the best service possible to, number one, get them to come back to the casino, and number two, to stay there and gamble money, right? Because obviously, like, the casino, it's all a math game, right? The casino has an edge on different games. What the type of game is going to determine the edge. Baccarat has like one of the smallest edges in all casino games for the house. They still have an edge, and then you have things like slot machines that are stacked way against people. So talk a little bit about like the ADT and kind of how like casinos like view that stuff, and that's kind of why they're giving you a host and giving you these comps. It's because they really want you to keep coming back. Because on a theoretical long enough time horizon, you should lose money, which of course anyone's experience could be totally different.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, after you get a host, you can get one trip comped, and they'll give you that next trip comped, 3 nights stay in like a decent, a nice suite. They might give you, $500 in free play and a couple $100 in food and beverage credits. But that next trip is what's going to determine your future relationship with the host. Like obviously hosts aren't just, picking you up in a Rolls Royce and to and from the airport and, doing all this stuff for you, basically being like a personal butler and concierge service when you're staying at the hotel. They don't just do that for free. Like you said, it's under the premise that over a long enough period of time, you're going to end up losing money at the casino. So that's what it's all based on. And so they go off of, like you were just saying, the ADT, and that stands for average daily theoretical. And they don't call it like a theoretical loss or win. The short term for it of insider lingo is Theo. And it's your theoretical loss or your theoretical win. It can go both ways depending on how the luck is playing in your favor. But essentially what they do, everybody gets a player's card when you sign up for a casino. Every single time you sit down at a slot machine or you sit down at a table game, you put in your card, and based on every single game is different, so they've calculated at that there's X amount of hands per hour on a blackjack. There's X amount of spins per hour at a roulette table. So based on these statistical averages, and how much and how often you're actually playing based on how many hours you're actually sitting at the table. That's able
Yeah.
to determine what your ADT is. And so you typically need to have like have a certain ADT for the host to continue giving the same level tier of
Yeah.
comps. And then you have a trip like this where, God bless, it's been
So let's
a
talk about it. Let's talk about it, man. Whatever you're comfortable with sharing, but this has been kind of like a movie, you know?
Yeah, this was definitely a good run this trip for sure. We're up pretty nicely. I've put into perspective. You need about 1,000,000 points at the casino that I'm currently at to reach the highest tier level of their status. Each casino has different tiers. When I came here 10 days ago, I was at like 830,000 points out of 1,000,000. So pretty close to there. And this right now, I'm at like 2.3 million in 10 days.
Sheesh.
Well,
Sheesh. And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just probably gonna guess. Like, I don't know if you asked the pit boss this recently, but like your total bet volume over these last 10 days has got to be it's got to be like north of 10 million, right?
I'll have to ask that,
Yeah,
honestly. I
yeah,
I haven't asked the question, but I do know there was one night we had a good session for a few hours. My average bet was like 4,500 per bet. And then, but normally, normally I would say I'm usually around 600 to
hmm
$1,000 per
yeah, yeah,
hand. And that gets you really good comps. I mean, that gets you everything. I mean, they'll
yeah,
completely wipe your room charges. They'll, let you stay at the casino as long as you want in really nice suites, 1,600 square foot suites. They've
oh
got
yeah,
Rolls Royces outside anytime I want to go somewhere. If I need to go to another casino, meet with somebody, whatever, just call them up real quick. They have one
yeah,
waiting outside. It's a full package when you're betting, 600 to
yeah.
1,000 hands for
Yeah,
sure.
and I'll just say, I mean, all that stuff is dope. I think it's super important though. Like if there's a way to do it where if you're running hot, you're making money at the casino and you're getting comps and you're getting all this dope stuff, it's like the perfect situation. That being said, you don't want to like if anyone listening, you don't want to lose 100 grand to get 20 or $30,000 worth of comps. That's
100%.
that's what people try to do, and that's why they you walk into Resorts World, you walk into Fountain Blue, you walk into the Hard Rock, like these are luxurious properties, and obviously they made all that money by taking other people's money. So yeah, that's kind of the trick to avoid. But if you do it right, like kind of you're doing it on this trip, I mean it's literally the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And I'll say not many people can say this. This specific casino that I'm at, I'm net positive because of the past couple trips getting really lucky. I understand that I'm not delusional. I'm fully aware that, gambling in general is a net negative sort of outcome, but the way I see it personally is it's such a cliche saying, and it's such easier said than done, but you don't want to gamble more than you can afford to lose. Like every
100%,
every
100%.
single trip that I go on, I start off with a percentage of, that like a percent or a dollar amount in my head of what, I'm willing to lose on that trip, and I'm not going to go past that. And it's never going to be more than an amount. It's never going to be an amount that's going to affect my livelihood. Obviously nobody wants to lose money, right? Nobody wants to lose 10 grand, 20 grand, whatever in a couple period days time, but it happens. And as long as it's not affecting your livelihood, I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
yeah, that's
100%.
that's that's a huge point. Because that's the thing where it separates someone from having, let's say, well, if you think about any form of entertainment, it costs money. If that's golf for you, or maybe it's going out to a show, or some people like having season tickets at whatever sports game. So I feel like that all costs money. The problem is when you become a problem gambler, like you said, where you can't stop. You set a limit and you can't stop, and then even when you pass that limit, you'll go and you'll take loans, and then that's a really bad snowball effect
Yeah.
where it could kind of ruin your life quicker than most things, because most things are kind of progressive where, maybe if you pick up like a drug habit or something else where it's kind of
Yeah.
slowly kind of ruins your life, where I mean, if you have no self-control and you know, you could be a multimillionaire and you know, you could lose everything. That and it's not like you could lose everything throughout a couple of years. I mean, you
Yeah.
can lose everything in one night. I mean, and it's happened because it's like, okay, you start off with you lose 10, and now you're in a frantic mode. So you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna take out 20 and I'm gonna make it back. And then if you lose that, you're already 30K down in the hole. So
Yeah, and it's like, bro, I'm down 30. Like, what's another 20 or 30? You know?
the problem is
100%.
the problem is we also see a lot of like people who do it for a living. Like you'll see like, you know, your Vegas Mats and your whatever, you know, maybe lose 10, 15, 20,000, 30, maybe even Steve
Yeah.
will do it, you know,
Guys like John Sarasani.
or
Yeah.
John Cersan. I mean, I guess John Cersan is a little different because you see him kind of rage where some like where you wouldn't see like, you know, if he loses like 80 or $100,000, he's, you know, he's fuming. But you know, there's, I mean, I've watched streams of Aiden Ross. You know, he lost like 3 million in one night at the Red Rock. But they're also getting a kickback, you know what I'm saying? So you can't watch people do
Yeah.
things and be like, understand that because guess what? If they even lost 15,000, Vegas Matt lost 15,000, well, he's making $10,000 back from YouTube, and he's probably making
Exactly.
another $5,000 back from Patreon. And then by the time you know everything adds up, it's he could bet for free practically. I mean,
Yeah.
but
And
you know,
that's even kind of what John was saying. John Sarasani, David and I went on a cruise with him a few months ago, like a casino cruise. It was a lot of fun. Honestly, that was the most fun I've ever had gambling because like it was like a small casino. Cruise ship was amazing. Small casino. You'd see the same exact dealers over and over again. You see the same exact people over and over again, and it was straight up like entertainment. And the fact that you know walk away with a nice a nice win, it's pretty dope. But what I will say is, I think I'm not a big gambler, but I think there actually is, some fun. You go to a casino with your friends, you're out, I think it's a cool activity. The problem that I see is the online gambling, the rise of online
yeah.
gambling, where you can literally from your house like have a live dealer and you could be playing blackjack, you could be playing roulette because low key, it used to be like you have to go to a casino. Now you can literally lose all the money you've ever made and just literally sitting
That's why bookies
from your
That's
yeah,
why bookies were a really big thing too, especially in New York, where you know they would take action, and especially because you know before they passed the laws in New York, it was like completely prohibited. So you definitely have the rise of that. I kind of want to, it's a good thing that you brought that up because it kind of like it kind of differentiates where it's like if you do it as an activity, it's one thing. Like I would kind of compare it to alcohol. So like, okay, you go out with your friends, you have a couple drinks, it's a good time.
100%. That's a great
That's
analogy,
great.
yeah.
But if you're sitting at home drinking every day, then you have a problem because you know what I'm the
Yeah,
same exact thing. If you're sitting on home and you're playing online and a lot of people, because
yeah,
like you said, geographically, there's how many people they don't live. I mean, we've always lived in kind of metropolitan areas with a lot of things around us. But if you're living in Timbuktu, you might have had to drive 3, 4, 5 hours to get to a casino. Now you
yeah,
can just get online and
yeah, and everyone is
just
promoting it.
let me
You
just
got
say one last thing with
yeah,
the online casinos is the credit cards that they take. So the fact that you can really go into serious debt, and there's different like tricks where people would even say they have $100 in their bank account. On Friday, they'll withdraw the 100 to the website, to this or whatever gambling website, and then redo it. So they'll get another 100, even if their account doesn't have it. And then by the time it's Monday, they got hit with, the overdraft fee. They got hit with this fee, that fee. So I think it's very predatory. That's what I think. At the end of the day.
yeah,
I agree 100%. And I think a lot of it also, besides the predatory side, a lot of it goes back to like income. And I mean, this directly is related to predatory, right? You have ads on, big events, all the UFC fights, you've got it on the ring, you've got now all over the place. It's posted at all these big sporting events. And it's really promoted at every commercial. You see like a DraftKings commercial now. And I think the issue is a lot of people are stuck in the rat race right now. And especially with just how inflation and how bad the economy is right now, people are looking for ways to make money quick. And so when they see, these celebrities, like I literally saw it was a DraftKings commercial and the guy's saying like, I don't even know the play, he's like, I don't even know who the players are. They're like asking, and it's like they're just
yeah, yeah,
making it so easy for people to come in and gamble. And
Yeah.
There's three ways, just so everybody listening knows, the three biggest scams with these online bettings is player props, live bets, and parlays. Any of those are the worst. Parlays is where these sports books and these casinos are making most of their money. Live bets too, and then player props, right, where you're betting on individual players. Those are the three big. You got like Prize Picks and DraftKings, a lot of these companies now. And it's just very predatory. And so just going back to like the income, these people don't have the money, and then they're taking what little bit, like you said, Sam, what little bit they have, and then going into debt with it, and then it just kind of becomes this spiraling thing. So I actually didn't gamble. I didn't touch gambling for the past couple of years. Well, I literally didn't even touch a casino for probably 2-3 years, from the time I like moved to Miami until, probably about like 6-8 months ago, when all the hard work that I've been doing the past couple of years.
Yeah. And let's talk about that. So yeah, the gambling is fun, but obviously you do other stuff, right? Professionally. So, the way I've heard you describe what you do is you do marketing, you do sales, and you do a lot of affiliate stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like a big buzzword: affiliate marketing, affiliate sales. Like everyone wants to, get a piece of something. Give us a little bit of context around like exactly what those things mean to you, and kind of like what do you do specifically in that world?
Yeah. So what I mostly do most of the time is affiliate marketing. And I've got a business partner of mine, and he's got a massive platform with gets a couple 100 million views a month, and he's got over 10 million followers on Instagram. And so that has been a great funnel for affiliate marketing. And so, I mean, really, really simply put, I connected with this guy and we became business partners. And I introduced a couple different offers to his network, and using Instagram, which is a extremely, extremely, extremely powerful platform. I personally think it's the most powerful. I know a lot of people think TikTok. I don't even have TikTok, never even have had a TikTok account, so I can't even really compare. I know TikTok's great, but I think personally for what I've done, if it wasn't for Instagram, definitely wouldn't be here today. And by using influencers that are able to, I guess we call it influencer marketing, right? Some people would call it influencer marketing, but we kind of took a different approach because we didn't just use my friend with all these millions of views just to get our business. We actually used his platform to get affiliates, because most of the content that he pushes out and most of the people that follow him are entrepreneurial and online kind of related. We found some really great offers. So for example, one of the best offers that we ran, it's called the Employee Retention Credit. It's a tax credit program that ran during the COVID time. And basically what it was, any business that was open during COVID, they got a check of up to $26,000 for each W-2 employee that they had. So think a little nail salon shop with 7 employees, right? They're getting over $150,000 check just because they, granted they had to keep those employees and stay in business, right? Which some, unfortunately didn't, but the companies that did stay in business, they got rewarded with these checks from the government, completely tax-free, literally just a reward back, basically a reward for the business owner for staying open and keeping basically a kickback on the taxes that they had previously paid. So we helped facilitate this program, essentially saw a huge opportunity. It was like, hey, I know business owners. I was like, I know that this network knows a lot of business owners. So, we found a really great firm out in Miami that was doing a really good job helping people get back these credits for people. So I took a one-way trip out here to Florida, and really the rest is kind of history. I partnered with my friend on this, and we were able to use his network to bring in over 1,000 affiliates. And then these affiliates knew tons of business owners. Some affiliates went even as far as, setting up their whole operation with Facebook ads and email campaigns and really taking this offer seriously. And we ended up helping like 650 companies in a little bit under 2 years with this credit. So, that's been my main focus. And that really opened up my eyes to, what you can do in the online space with affiliate networking.
100%, 100%. So I mean, that's I know about I know about all that just because that's when we met, right? We met back in shoot, probably back in January of 23. So been really right around both the time we both moved to Miami. Obviously, we didn't know each other before we moved to Miami, but kind of crossed paths there. Uh, I think I've always I've done a bit of affiliate marketing, bit of affiliate sales. I've always thought it's one of the cleanest kind of business operations, right? Because you're paying for a transaction, right? You're a store that sells a product. You're a business that sells a service. Someone gets you a customer. Someone gets you a client. They get a piece of that. I've always thought that that's like one of the simplest things because a lot of people run ads. A lot of people, you can run ads. You can do whatever, Google, Facebook, whatever it is. Often you're mainly paying for leads. That's kind of how most people do it. You're paying for the lead, which is like the opportunity to get someone who will then actually become a customer. On the affiliate side, and you can't be an affiliate person with leads, but I think mostly what you've done and what a lot of people do in that space is, when someone actually pays, that's when you get paid. And I think it can be super, super powerful if you, number one, and you can add anything here. I think number one is really find the right offer, right? You don't want to be doing affiliate for an offer that is low quality, that is not going to work because you're going to spend a ton of time talking to a lot of people, probably even spending your own money, and then no one's going to be buying the product or service. So that's, total crapshoot. And then number two, you want to kind of have a good system in place, right? I think like you want to be able to track things properly. You don't want to be, and I have some experience with this. You go back and forth. Hey, was this our person? Was this your, you know what I mean? And then you have to argue what, because, once they make the money, some people don't want to, send the money out to somebody else. What are your thoughts on that? Is there anything else like super important, super top of mind when someone's getting into kind of the affiliate space?
I mean, those are it. I mean, you literally hit it on the head. It's the offer. The offer has to be good enough, right? The offer has to be, you don't want to feel like you're fighting an uphill battle, right? Like specifically to use ERC as an example, it was an amazing offer because it was a win-win-win, right? We're going to business owners and we're saying, hey, if you were open during COVID, we can get you this free money back, right? And you're not going to pay us. We did that 100% on contingency too, so we didn't charge the client a single dollar up front. It was 100% on contingency. So it was like, hey, you send us your tax documents, we'll see if you qualify and we're able to get you any money from this program. If we are, cool. You throw us 20-25% after the check's already settled in your account. And if we can't get you anything, you don't pay us a single penny. So I think that offer is really strong because it's like a no-brainer offer. It's like, why would you say no to that, right? And then two is, like you just said, is the fulfillment and like the trustworthiness of the company that you're working with. I too have experience working with some companies on different offers, and the offer itself looks good, so you jump into the offer and you start selling it, and then you realize, oh, the fulfillment is actually not as good as they said it was. So I think it's really important that if any affiliate offer, before you start to put it out to your masses or try to build like an affiliate network or whatever or if you're planning on just being an affiliate yourself and driving leads and building out a whole operation, it's really important that you test a couple of leads first and check the fulfillment, see what the client experience is like, because I will tell you, I have personally wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars dumping money into offers where I believed the people that told me the fulfillment was going to be a certain way in the beginning, and then after drove tens of thousands of leads to these companies, they weren't able to fulfill on their end, and so you've got everybody upset. It's not good.
It's a messy business, and that's the one thing that everyone has to be aware of because I've dealt with something similar on a smaller scale. When you become an affiliate, you're not getting paid until you start bringing in deals. So the people that are onboarding you have a lot of incentive to kind of like sell you the moon, because they're like, oh man, this is going to be great. This is going to be this. This is going to be this. You spend the money, you do all the work, and then I'll give you on the back end, which again, it's not a bad model. It's a very clean model for everyone involved. If you do the work and you actually get the business owner, the company paid, you get paid. The problem is if the offer isn't exactly what it's looking like, and if the people aren't trustworthy, then either no one's going to buy, or when they do buy, they're not going to pay you out, and then now you have to sue, you have to go back and forth. It's a whole messy situation. So I think it's a space where honestly, it's probably one of the most like meritocratic spaces in all of like anything online, right? At the end of the day, you drive sales, you get paid. It's kind of like investing almost. You know, you put or trading, you put money into something. If you get more money out, you're doing well, and if you don't, you're doing badly. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things. There's a lot of really great things about it. I think it's just like one thing you have to keep your eyes like very open and like watch out for a lot of kind of like unscrupulous people and a lot of just like bad offers. Like there are there are a ton of bad offers out there. You know, you and I both personally know people with bad offers. And
I
it's
would
like,
say more unscrupulous people and bad fulfillment than offers, because anybody can kind of create an offer pretty easily or propose a good offer, but not everybody can fulfill on the back end, so yeah, that's my thoughts on
No,
it.
that's a really good point. You know, you have to know who you're working with, and when you're already getting, you're kind of all in into something, and then you have to kind of, you're assuming that you have like a piece of something coming your way, and then you have to fight for it. It just kind of, slows down the whole process, and it kind of, and those type of people give this whole space a bad name to the point where it's like now, if you think of, if anyone says, even me, if someone says, "Oh, I do wholesale real estate," like I
yeah,
automatically assume that you're trying to like rob me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be like, "Yo, like what do you mean?" Or if someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a blah 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 drop shipper," da 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 da.
yeah,
So it's really tough to kind of differentiate, especially we're in Miami. There are so many really good people, really great entrepreneurs. You just have to shift through the
yeah,
nonsense,
yeah.
and then you can get to the really good people. So that's mainly that's my point.
100%. Like every business is legit, whether it's drop shipping or wholesaling. It's just that some of these businesses have gotten so competitive, so difficult to actually make money in because it's so competitive now. Because you got 10,000 people teaching a million people how to do it, and everyone's now in the space.
And
There's
then you have
only
people teaching people how to teach people. That's a
Yeah,
huge thing.
exactly.
So
So
right now,
it's not even that it's like fake. It's just that it's so competitive that like now they're like, oh man, I can't even make money off this anymore. But they have the skills,
listen,
so they
like,
have to like teach somebody else to do it. So that's the kind of rabbit hole that you can fall into. And I mean, personally, we probably all know. I know people that spend upwards of six figures on wholesaling seminars, like how to wholesale. They spend six figures on how to wholesale real estate. Where realistically, like 8 hours on YouTube, you know the entire process. All you have to do is start calling people. You don't need to like there's not much they can teach you besides like pick up the phone, call, negotiate, and then like call somebody once you have the deal under contract, call somebody else and try to
well,
house.
that's the problem where they'll see that some of the things that if it doesn't, because you said that it's oversaturated. Say someone says, "Okay, I want to become a drop shipper." They go on YouTube, they search it up, da 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 da. They try it out, and clearly 9 times out of 10, it's gonna fail. Half the people are going to say, okay, this isn't for me. It's not, it's an oversaturated market. And half the people are going to say, well, clearly I didn't do something right. And then they have all these people are hearing, well, you're not stuck in your business because you don't have a mentor. You're stuck in your business because you don't have a teacher. So those people fall into that trap where they might have tried it by themselves, didn't succeed, and they've been taught that you need a coach or you need someone to kind of hold your hand and explain everything to you. Where as an entrepreneur, it kind of goes against everything that we think of. I mean, we're supposed to, if you're an entrepreneur, you're supposed to have this spirit of, trying, and it's not going to work out. Most of the time you're going to fail. And that's the whole part of just being an entrepreneur is failing, learning. The problem is there's whole value. Most people with serious value who could seriously teach you stuff, like they're not doing it for money. Like we talked when we had that guy, Michael Vegas Sands, where he could probably sell a course for as much as any Miami guru, maybe more, and he has more of a track record to back it up. But he's not going to do that. What is he going to do? He said, "Well, if there's people that reach out to me, blah blah blah, and say a compelling story, I'll give them an hour of my time for free, and we'll talk about anything you want to talk about, and we'll discuss because that's somebody helped him, and that's most people who are extremely successful. They're not going to push. They're not hawking a course. Like I said, there's a lot of people where you could put on a show for a certain amount of time, but eventually it always catches up. And this is very evident. It doesn't matter what space you're in. It doesn't matter if it's even, I'll give you an example right now. I mean, everybody knows wires only, but he's just got completely exposed where it's where if someone would have told you 6 months ago, you're like, no, man, this guy has a show and he's driving all these nice cars and he sold cars to Kim Kardashian and da 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 blah, blah, and it all is all all nonsense. And now it's all blowing up in people's faces. So that's the problem. When you don't have a solid foundation, this happens. So trying to kind of skip the learning stage, trying to be like, oh, I need someone to teach me, someone hold my hand, tell me how to do it. You can't. If someone came up to you and said, I need you to teach me in the next week how to become a successful trader, how to make, you know what I mean? And that's the point of it. If you had enough money to retire off of trading, you would never tell anyone how to do it because it's not worth it's not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. You understand? So you have to understand that.
Yeah, you got to be careful. And that's something we all talk about a lot. And David, you and I talk about this a bunch, bro. Like your reputation, especially in your space, like your reputation is almost everything. Because again, like you're partnering with various people on various offers, various business deals. There could be these like short-term opportunities to make a quick lick, make a quick lick, couple 100,000, maybe even into the millions, but is it worth ruining your reputation and nuking your potential future? And we see people doing that all the time, man. It's like you see a shiny object and you just like dump your morals, dump your ethics, go after it. And then it's like, damn, people won't do business with you anymore. It's never worth it, bro. I mean, if you're gonna make like $1 billion, and totally disappear, and it's like, whatever,
listen, bro, if you're gonna, I would
that's
think
on you. But
it would need to be about the Hayden level where you're sitting on $300-400 million and a couple different
100%.
cold
yeah,
wallets.
but bro, but the thing is, it's too
and you're
public.
and you're a target.
You
Listen,
might even go to prison.
there's
So
there's
it's never worth it.
listen, there's a worth it is up to you. I mean, some people, you talk to someone, they're like, yo, man, if I can make $1 million and sit in jail for the next 10 years, I'll do it because they understand that 10 years on the outside ain't going to do nothing for them. So worth it is really, it's up to the person in question. But like you said, that once someone does ruin their reputation in a business where your reputation is your word, I would say it's the same thing when in the jewelry business where everything is kind of, it's not, they're doing hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars of transactions every single day. And they're not writing up contracts. Everything is a handshake deal. And that's how it used to be. If you shook someone's hand, that would be it. In the 80s, 90s, if you had to deal with someone, you shook their hand, that was a binding agreement, because guess what? It's not today where there's no such thing as shame. There's no such thing as, being embarrassed anymore or being, any negative stereotypes. So no one really cares. Like, oh, I'm a scammer. Well, guess what? You know how many scammers there are? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a little different today where
I don't think anybody thinks that they're going to be seen as a scammer. I think a lot of the scamming has been done online and, you know, a lot of the scamming is done. It's not even that person's face, right? They're scamming under a moniker, fake profiles, things like that. So I think it's more social media and the internet has given the opportunity
to do it.
Twitter accounts and the fake, they do all this
Yeah.
shit, all the orchestrate it and make all this fake money. And, it's, they don't think they're going to get caught. And probably because there's so much, there's probably a bunch of those guys that probably won't get caught, and there's probably a bunch that will get caught. But, it's like this kind of completely unregulated space right now. So
yeah, the online space, I mean, the laws still haven't caught up to a lot of stuff, right? Like you can technically scam somebody, and what's your recourse? You have to go to the lawyers, and the lawyer is going to charge you money, or they're going to take a big contingency fee, or they're going to do something like that. And for a lot of people, they're like, man, do I want to tie myself up for a couple of years and do this and do that? And unfortunately, that's kind of the situation that just we've had created where, the real winners and all those things, like even if you get the money back, the real winners are the lawyers. People going after them because they're going to be getting 40%, 50%. So even if you get, finessed and you win against them in the court, you're probably not going to get all your money back. And that's where I think legal, like official kind of criminal punishment is really important, because if I'm a criminal, like, again, I think me morally, I just wouldn't do these things because of my kind of belief system. But if you don't have a belief system and you're just like blank slate. I could steal, I could scam, or I could do a legitimate. It's the same money. If your only penalty is, oh man, I might lose some money civilly and whatever, you're way more incentivized to do that. But if your penalty is, man, I might sit in a cage, something like that, then people are, you would think are gonna think about that a little bit more. I want to take it a little bit back to kind of your the affiliate stuff. Just to give some actionable insights, we like to kind of provide like a lot of value on this. If someone is looking to set up kind of an affiliate system right now, right? Like what would you give them kind of like a few steps of like, what do you have to do to kind of start doing affiliate sales, affiliate marketing? And like, what would be step one? And then kind of how can someone gauge, like, is this going well? Should I start putting money into this? Should I start running ads? Should I start going deeper? Or is like, this is just not for me? And because I know a lot of people spend a lot of time in the affiliate space, and you look back 1, 2, 3 years later, and it's like you would have been way better served off just like getting a regular job,
Yeah.
So how do you think about that? What can you say there?
Look, I think anything online, anything you're going to do online, kind of Sam was talking about it a little bit earlier, is you have to be prepared to fail. I think just to begin with, I think you have to have the mindset going in like, hey, I might try a couple things. Like, you don't want to just go in with, okay, this is my end all be all. Okay, something doesn't work out. I'm kind of like, screw all this, right? Just kind of how we were talking the other day, Ben, about like investing in stocks. It's like, if someone says that they've lost money in the stock market, it's like, okay, well, like how? Like, we're at all-time highs right now. Or even with Bitcoin, you say I lost money on Bitcoin. It's like, we're at all-time highs with Bitcoin. That means that
Mm,
you sold at a loss because you were scared and you paper handed it and
yep,
you didn't get back into it. And
exactly,
that's
exactly.
the mentality, that same mentality with getting into affiliate marketing or any business, any invest. I mean, you're investing in yourself, right? And no different than investing in the stock market. With affiliate, you're betting on yourself. It's just a style of entrepreneurship. In terms of actionable steps, so first, mindset. Second, so if you're okay, you're prepared to fail forward. I like to say you need to decide if you want to do the affiliate route for yourself, like if you want to become an affiliate and actually go and do the marketing and become an affiliate, or if you want to do more the style of what I did, which was finding affiliates. Because if you have a big network, right? I was kind of in a unique scenario because I've been in the online space since like 2016, so I have a really kind of like deep, intricate network. So for me, it was actually better to present these affiliate offers to my network. And obviously I did it myself too, but your warm network is so limited, right? So any offer that you're going to get involved with, you're going to have a warm network, right? Of contacts that you already know that might be interested in this offer that you can pitch to. And then once that's gone, once your warm market is exhausted, then you have to look at cold traffic, right? So you have to look at either running email campaigns or running ads, or literally going and knocking doors, or there's a bunch of different ways to generate leads. So step one, mindset. Step two, decide if you're going to if you want to do the affiliate, you're marketing yourself, or if you have a network where you can bring affiliates. And it's always good to do both, be the affiliate yourself. And then also, so that way you have the experience yourself. And then, I mean, it's just finding a good offer. There's so many out there. A really good friend of mine, Robbie Blanchard, he's been the number one affiliate on ClickBank for years. I know ClickBank, you can go on there and find a bunch of affiliate offers. My buddy Josh Snow, who owns Snow Whitening, it's a multi 9-figure company. They have a really cool affiliate marketing program with like TikTok Shop and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, finding the offer, I mean,
yeah, 100%.
anybody listening to this, there's literally affiliate marketing for every single industry and vertical that you can pretty much think of out there. So
Yeah,
find something with good that's something we didn't talk about too, is like, even if the offer, I want to talk, this is actually really important, is your margins, your profit margins. Because let's say offer is good, let's say fulfillment is trustworthy and everything. Well, if they're paying you 5%, it's like, okay, is there even enough meat on the bones for this thing?
yeah. What's a good percentage? What should you negotiate? Like, give us kind of a range.
So it depends if, there's a couple variables. Are you doing the closing, or are they doing, do they have a team where they're doing the closing and you're kind of just sending them, kind of a warmed up lead? But if you're doing the closing and you're sending them just kind of like a close done deal, it should be pretty close to 50-50. And because I mean, look, you're doing whatever you need to do to generate the lead, right? You're taking on the risk to do whatever you need to do to generate the lead. Then you're spending the time and the energy to sell this person on this other person's service or offer, whatever they have. And then you're just handing it to this other, to back to this, the fulfillment center essentially to be fulfilled. So should be close to 50-50 if you're taking on all of that responsibility. Now, if you're literally just referring people over and, it's like they fill out a form and then this company's taking care of completely all the sales, the follow-up, all that sort of stuff, probably around, starting off without any volume, somewhere around like the 20%, 15 to 20% mark. And I really like to do ladder agreements with companies. So it'll be where, we do X amount. Like I sit down with my team and I say, okay, I think that this is the kind of volume, we study the offer, how much money we're going to spend into it, the closing rates, that sort of stuff. Look at all the KPIs and metrics on the offer for the volume that's currently being brought, get an idea of what sort of volume we can bring. That way we can kind of run some projections and then just see what the margins are. You need to make sure that it's profitable. Then your own margins, so like whatever you're getting paid by the company, okay, let's say it's 20%. When all is said and done, off of your top line, you like a good rule of thumb, I think, is around at 30%. I think if you're at least like 30% margins on your own dollars that you're spending, I think that's a good place.
That's super helpful, and that's when we get into kind of like the nitty gritty of it. Yeah, I'll just say this. I think at the end of the day, every product or service needs to be sold, right? Whether it's through marketing, TV ads, targeted ads, or someone knocking on your door, every single product needs to be sold, or product or service needs to be sold, and it needs to be bought by somebody. And I think a lot of people, like this, David, because you're really on the inside, and we've talked a lot about this, but people would be surprised at how much money literally just affiliates are making. Like guys who are running big, large scale affiliate operations, they don't have their own offer, they don't have their own their business is just sales and marketing for other products, and they're partnering with companies and they're helping them grow, and they're doing that kind of stuff. I think that's they're kind of behind the scenes. That's why people don't know about it. If you're not in the space, if you're not in the know, how are you going to know that when you're buying, that when someone's selling you on this product of like a big company, you're not even dealing with the company, you're dealing with like the affiliate who then is splitting a lot of that money. So it's a really, really big industry. And there's a lot there that I think just if you're not on the inside, you just have no idea what's even happening there.
Yeah. On that note, I will say what really changed my whole kind of going from gas pedal at 75% to gas pedal to 100% when I really started getting into this affiliate stuff is one of my mentors in this space. I remember one month we went to a baseball game and we're sitting at the baseball game and he shows me his phone, shows me a $7.5 million wire from 1 month of work. And that's we're talking affiliate profits. We're talking, he grew an affiliate network. So he didn't, there wasn't a dollar spent out of his pocket to make that money. Like we're talking like 99% profit margins for this guy simply because he saw a good offer and connected big heavy hitters to this offer and just built out a massive affiliate network.
It's a different world, right? Like a lot of people think, oh man, I'm seeing this, it's organic, someone's showing me this. And man, a lot of the times things aren't really organic. People are doing this for a very specific reason, whether you're seeing something on Instagram, whether it's like an influencer talking about something. Like at the end of the day, most people are making sure they're getting paid. And that's just kind of the way the world works. Again, everyone is being sold almost 24/7. And that's kind of just the way our system is, right? It's like people have stuff that can provide other people value, and hopefully they're selling stuff that provides people value, right? And a lot of the products are great, and a lot of products aren't, but you gotta, as a consumer, you have to make that decision for yourself. it's a really cool space. There's a lot into it, and I think for anyone who's like super hungry, who's well connected, who's well plugged in, there's a lot of opportunities there. David, as we're kind of wrapping this up, let me know if there's anything you want to plug, anything you want to shout out for people to know before we sign off.
Nothing. Just follow me on Instagram at David S. That's it.
All right. You guys heard it. You guys heard it here.
Thanks so much for joining us, man. It was great. You dropped gems for the people.
ton of value here, and for everyone who's been listening to these episodes, we really appreciate you guys. If you've been following the clips on Instagram, on YouTube, TikTok, wherever, we really appreciate the support. I would say everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't yet, if that's where you listen, or hit subscribe and give us a good review on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. David, you're the homie. Appreciate you coming on, and we will catch you all next week.
Appreciate you guys having me. Thanks, guys.